Hi, I'm gonna do this assignment, basically like a podcast style, because I wrote out basically every big thing I took away from each of the materials. But honestly, looking at the Word document is making me sad and bored. So I'm just gonna make this little podcast about each of the materials. Overall, what I took away from all of them is that if we're not giving students the opportunities to practice critical literacy, they're not going to be able to apply those skills when they become adults and are responsible for thinking about real world situations, whether it's how they interact with their peers or how they're going to analyze the reliability of a text. They're going to apply these skills in their real life. The earlier and the more often we give them the chance to use these skills in a safe environment, the more likely they're going to be confident with their critical thinking skills in the future. All of the materials went into this in some capacity. All right, the perusal article. What I took away from this one was that it's important to show students how they should be evaluating the literacy around them. The more they practice with the same 6 questions, the more automatic this kind of thinking will happen when they have to apply it to real world problems, not just their assignments for class. In the article, there were questions like who created the source? Why was it created? What claims are made? Are claims well supported? Are there biases or point of views? And to what extent is the source reliable? So, from the Spires textbook, I took 2 major points away. One of them is that recognizing that as the world changes technology, socially, and economically, it's really important to note that as a future teacher. If we as educators don't adapt with these changes, how else are the students supposed to learn how to properly and critically interact with the world around them? That one probably could be an entire argument in itself. I was looking through all the details in the book. But then I took kind of a second point away, and I just really enjoyed these 2 quotes. One was, what do you want the children you teach to be like as adults? They wanted to see children grow up to be inquisitive problem solvers, empathetic, critical consumers, collaborative, adaptable, and citizens with a global perspective. The other quote was, students will need to acquire critical literacies in order to understand and integrate global systems. All right, and for Woolsey, this textbook had a really wonderful section on how talking deepens the understanding of the text. I think that talking with peers is genuinely one of the most important schools that can be done in a classroom to help students learn how to interact with their peers because they're literally learning how to interact with the people around them, whether it's arguing or just kind of discussing opinions. Specifically, I also enjoyed learning about the language frames. Personally, frames like the ones listed in the Woolsey article would have helped me as a student because sometimes I really struggled to understand what an assignment is asking me to do, and these language frames set really clear expectations while giving students the chance to think freely and creatively. Finally, for the UNICEF guide, this one really highlighted the importance of educating students about misinformation, particularly as social media usage increases. Teaching them to identify false information can also emphasize the responsibility of preventing its spread. One of the quotes from this guide was that in the US, teens aged 13 to 17 get their news more frequently from social media sites or from YouTube than directly from news organizations. I can also agree to this as a college student. The other quote was, our experts observe that despite children being thought of as born digital, we can't equate familiarity with technology with critical thinking and media awareness. To relate this to the module as a whole, kind of put a nice bow on all of this module really taught me about the importance of giving students the chance to voice their opinion. If we're not giving them these opportunities in class, when they go into a real world situation, they're going to struggle. When you give them an assignment based on something like history or math or English, yes, they're practicing, basic core class skills, but they are also gaining social and cultural skills they will use throughout their life. And with that, that is the end of this little podcast recording. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next Read and React.